Welcome to the bold analysis. If William Ruto is reinventing the hustler narrative that was used in 2022 as his launchpad for the 2027 general election, then at this point I can say hustler narrative that was based on a victim mentality do not have a space for a sitting president. And if someone wants to float a victim of circumstance by by injecting in the hustler narrative, then President William Ruto's 2027 re-election plan is in deep crisis. In this podcast, I'm going to look at how Natembeya has debunked that hustler narrative. But we also understand, in a very interesting twist, Ledama Olekina is walking out of William Ruto's circle. What exactly is going on? So make sure you watch to the end. We have an interesting podcast just for you. I have listened to William Ruto say something that he is facing a lot of, according to him, he's saying that he's facing a lot of problems because he's making brave decisions that previous presidents could not make. And he said Uhuru Kenyatta told him not to touch education because it's very difficult to deal with parents and students. And Jomo Kenyatta and Mwai Kibaki did not touch some environments, probably health, because it's an emotive factor, and has been bringing a bragging narrative that, I took brave, I made brave decisions to make some of these decisions, like, for example, housing, because it was a challenge for the previous presidents. And so he says that I am being fought because I am doing things that others do not do, and I'm a victim of dismantling cartels and other things in the country. In real sense, the president says, I'm a victim of harassment by own government. This hustler thing does not hold. And at this point, George Natembeya is telling off the president that the highest con narrative of hustler do not have a place for him in 2027 here.
And the politics of Kenya has got a way of changing people. Hiyo mambo ya hustler ilikwisha. Nani wanaongea mambo ya hustler siku hizi? Sasa mmekuwa matajiri sasa hivi. Hustler in the narrative ended, lakini shida bado ziko. Wakati huu sasa tutachagua one of us, yule ambaye anaelewa shida ya mwananchi ni nini. Tupambane na tabu ya mwananchi ya kawaida. Kwanza hata tu chakula peke yake. Watu wengine hata hawana chakula. Kukula tu breakfast, lunch na supper, maboma mengi hata tuanza hii hakuna hiyo kitu. Kuna sehemu zingine watoto wakikula lunch, kama uko na watoto 5, wawili wanakula lunch, wale watatu wakule lunch. Ikifika supper, watatu wanakula supper, au wawili Ziko hiyo matatizo. Mama anavaa nguo moja, hii siku ya Sabato anavaa nguo mzuri. Hii siku nyingine mama anavaa tu nguo moja. Si ndio? Nguo moja amefunga nayo leso. Hakuna ingine. Mtu akikuwa mgonjwa hata kupata pesa ya kununua dawa hakuna. Yaani ile umaskini ambayo tuko nayo, Wakenya wenyewe lazima waseme hii umaskini imekuwa too much. Lazima maneno yabadilike. Na mkibadilisha serikali mweka watu ambao wanaelewa, hii Kenya itakuwa first world. Mungu anatupenda. Hakuna kitu ambacho hatuna. What we lack just political leadership ambayo lazima tuipate from 2027 kuokoa taifa la Kenya.
This exactly is what William Ruto has been doing. And I want you to look at this video. I want you to listen to this video in State House. This State House video that I think it was shared last, if I'm not wrong, that was last week. when he held that economic empowerment, alleged economic empowerment in State House, you could see it symbolize or represent the launch of the hustler narrative and the hustler bottom-up agenda that was done in 2022. If you look at the images you saw in State House in that video,
leo mko steto, wananchi wa Kanairo na wakaribisha hapa State House.
Niko ikulu ndani ya ikulu.
Sijateremusha standard ya State House, nimeinua standard ya mwananchi wa kawaida pia. Leo hapa tumekuja sio siasa, tumekuja biashara. Every hustle matters. Na nilisema ya kwamba biashara ya kila mtu itaheshimika. Ya boda boda na mama mboga na mahawa mahasla itaheshimika. Ndio Kenya kupatikane usawa. Ile kazi yote tumefanya in the last 3 years ni kuhakikisha ya kwamba kuna usawa katika taifa letu la Kenya. Kila mmoja wetu ajihisi ya kwamba yeye ni Mkenya.
Saguda tunazamuleti lembeki.
Bless the work of their hands.
Atozi danabu masanegi.
Bless our country, Heavenly Father.
Asangiteka mzake zambo bila shapre mbachwe.
And everybody say, Amen.
Ikisema Kenya, unasema tuta. Kenya, tuta.
these images are exactly the images of what happened in current residence 5 years ago in 2020 when William Ruto brought up some people with the wheelbarrow. Remember when the wheelbarrow thing was brought? Na akabeba watu na wheelbarrow akisema, and then the emblem of the party became a wheelbarrow of hustler, of promoting hustler. That exactly is what the president did there. And that is what Natembeya is talking about. And I'm going to tell you, I've looked at that incident. We are going to look at that reincarnation. And now the move by Ledama Olekina has been a strong supporter. And we will look, and I will demonstrate to you why the 2027 messaging by the president is in a big crisis. Very big crisis. The public is the judge. For me, I like talking to the populace. And in this podcast, we remind you, even on how you're going to make your decision to vote, as we are just opening your eyes so that you see. If you will be inclined on judging the podcast based on tribe, based on that, it's upon you. But as we remain with the line of telling you what it is, and the public must resist the temptation by the sitting president to appear before them as a victim of his own downfall. The public must resist that temptation. Yes, I saw a video in Kilifi where someone confronted some county official telling him about things that are not happening.
Kuitwa hapa tafadhali. Nenda huko kando. Security.
Hata shindano tete na Smalili Hospital haina. Acha kudanganya umma hapa. Madaktari wamegoma.
Haya, omba kidogo pia. Asanteni sana. Bwana Yesu asifiwe. Yesu asifiwe.
You got to ask yourself a question. William Ruto was elected on 8th of, is it 8th or 9th of August, 2022. 3 years later, August 2023, 2025, the president is inviting people and still donating motorbikes and sewing machines and this and that. While with the office of the president, he is a custodian of the government. He controls everything. You were elected to bring up policies, projects, and enabling environment that would allow people and businesses to thrive. Then after all that went down the drain, you wake up one day and start dishing people motorbikes and sewing machines, and you call that empowerment. And I just want to ask, if all of us are to be given those motorbikes, let's assume that's the empowerment. Remember, let's assume if the president is doing it, that is doing it for everyone. If that is how our economy is going to work, like sisi to pay a motorbike, where we pay a sewing machine, okay, who is going to panda the motorbikes? If all of us have it. If all of us have it. If all of us are going to use the sewing, who is going to buy? If there is no money, even if all of us have motorbikes, but we don't have money because the disposable income has increased due to overtaxation. The interest rates in the banks cannot favor people, individuals, to invest in their own housing because government becomes a principal chief constructor of people's homes and houses. Are we fixing the economy? So this is the tough talk that as a country we must talk about. And just to show you things are not right with the president and his own packaging about 2022, I have seen a tweet from Ledama Olekina. The Narok senator has done a tweet I want you to look at. Mr. Felix Kosgei, as head of public service, every ambassadorial appointment carries your stamp. Kenya's top leadership preaches inclusivity, yet your lists shamelessly favor just 5 ethnic groups. This isn't just biased, it's a betrayal of every Kenyan who's been sidelined. Other countries appoint diplomats with diversity and dignity. How dare you publish a list so narrow and exclusionary? You advise the president, yet you are blind to this injustice. This is not leadership, it's ethnic favoritism and full display. Do you honestly believe in the broad-based government? Yes. I want us to analyze that tweet, and I will explain to you. It's another problem the president could have faced. The first one is that one of trying to reinvent Hustler Fund, the Hustler narrative. The second one is making public pretense while inside things are not working. Let me tell you. The person who has done that tweet is Ledama Olekina. And maybe, let me read another one. He followed it with another one I would want us to look at here. Kuna kitu alisema. Yes, I should get it. Yes. Let's get at another tweet said. Bro, Edwin Sifuna, I can't sleep firm. My head spinning, trying to make sense of this crooked ass journey. Feels like the whole damn system's rigged, man. What you take in your coffee, truth or sugar, coated lies? Give me a black espresso, no bullshit, so I can sip while I watch this suckers burn. Coffee soon, or we still playing safe, bro? Is addressing Sifuna. Let me tell you. The man addressing Ledama Olekina is supposed to become the ODM Secretary General if Sifuna is to leave the seat. The man here was being used by William Ruto to bring the more votes in the table. and as ODM senator from Narok. He was being used to bring the Ma vote on the table. Now, he's publicly confronting the president on whether he believes on the broad-based government. That is Ledama. The second other review on his reaction here is demanding to have a coffee, a sit down with Sifuna. If you've been following the Kenyan politics, Sifuna is the face of revolt or the rebel voices from this against the system. And is asking questions and is saying, we can have coffee together. Sifuna recently met Wamushomba, Babu Owino, and Caleb Amisi. Is Ledama Olekina going that direction? But before I excite you, before you look at the excitement of Ledama joining the other camp, it is also possible we are at a political season where people are migrating and government is dispatching NIS everywhere. Is it also possible? And Sifuna and the team must be very careful. Whoever they bring in that. I remember when Morara Kebaso joined Rigathi camp, I went live on this podcast and I said, Morara was an NIS agent. He was an NIS agent that was being used just to test the waters and do this and that, and just to infiltrate that opposition. And that united opposition was, the infiltration of that united opposition started the moment they gave Morara Kebaso a seat there. I strongly believed he was not still, bado hakuwa ametosha mboga kuka kwa hiyo kiti. Masquerading there as Gen Z representative. So I think even Sifuna and the team, Ledama Olekina is asking for a coffee. Is it also possible that President Ruto is using Ledama Olekina to infiltrate that force that is coming up around them? It's also in Kenyan politics, you don't just look at things at face value and say this is this way. It's never that way. But be it as it may, I want to interpret those two challenges and tell you that William Ruto's 2027 bid is facing these four big challenges, and it's going to be in a big crisis. The first one is this, and I've said it in the middle here. President Ruto can't be a victim again. In 2022, was a victim of, oh, Uhuru Kenyatta doesn't want me, so you guys must vote for me because I helped Uhuru Kenyatta to become president, and then he has dumped me, and I've been with you people, so you need to come to me. Oh, Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga have come together, they're dynasties, so me, I'm a hustler who was just selling chicken, they don't want hustlers to be on the table, and so we must form this government together. That was another victim message. The other one was, you know, all the two people are BBI, they're just trying to create seats for themselves, and so for me, let's come back, I want to fix the economy, I'm not going to create seats. People, the person who said I'm not going to create positions has brought in Raila with the government and is creating all manner of commissions and frameworks and working bodies in the guise of bringing transformation. But those are just tools to ratify what the president wants. That is the man who said. He played that victim mentality. In 2027, the big crisis is here. Wakenya wameona. It is not going to be easy to come up again as a victim. Number two, against the tokenism targeting the hustlers. And it works for them. Yeah. Kina Moshi 1 hour, you give them some 10,000, they will jump all day and sing. Our mothers are attending these empowerment programs and they're being given vuvuzelas. I've seen, like, look at this photo. Mama wanapewa vuvuzela, they chant 2 terms this way. You see the 2 term, you know, them indicating 2 terms and dancing there. It works. But against that, The middle class whose money is being chopped every month to fund some of these activities, the empowerment programs that government is doing. Remember, this money is, I can tell you, the housing levy are the ones that are being diverted for all this, and these shies and all that. The middle class is demanding accountability for the money being spent, the value for the money. So in 2027, you will not evade accountability. Go and jump. Go to the rural villages and give our parents or siblings their money as you want. But back in the city or back down here, the middle class are demanding, and probably for the first time, a Kenyan voter, a teacher, a doctor, a civil servant, a public servant will know that in 2022, if I don't vote, the hustlers down there are going to make the choice on my behalf. And the political class have known that those are the people easily controlled, and they're targeting them. Number 3, personality politics hanging on tribal kingpins and pinkwins will face a big rejection this time. That is why when you impeached Rigathi, because you say Rigathi was tribal, you had to go for Raila, and you go to Nyanza and you attend an event, you give Raila superior seat. Protocol is even breached so that Raila to invite the president, so that the Luo nation sitting there will look and say Raila is the man, and they call Raila the king. And so when Raila says left, it is left. You do all that because you want to create a god in Raila, so that in 2027 you run, Raila have said we support Ruto, and so that will be it. And then you go to the coast and pick Joho. You go somewhere, pick another one. You are picking, all that personality politics. Not fully, but it will not be as effective as someone would want it to be. Because while we look at the problem with the president as about so-and-so is against him, but in real sense, people face the real question. And the real question or the real issue is this: are things working out? Whether you like it or not, the generational transition is here. It has arrived. I've been telling people. What we saw of young people protesting and saying, we are Gen Zs, we are going to be in the polling station, we want to present our candidature. That transition is here, and it has started. I agree. Gen Zs might still not make it. They must still not get big posts. Yeah. Because what the dominant career politicians have done is to make sure that the vote is based on how much money you have. And so Gen Zs don't have that money. But that transition, with the arrival of Kina Sifuna and Hamisi and Wamushombas there, that transition has started. They are going to vote. And by the time we are done with 2027 general election, we're going to have a different trajectory, and the message is going to change. So if you stick to the traditional playbook and you deal with the people who know what really needs to be done, then things are not going to be easy for the president. Thank you.